One of the biggest threats to workers right now is that Reform UK want to repeal the Equalities at Work Act. Now, they're saying that they need to replace this with with an act that ensures equal treatment of all people at work. Now, what we need to look at is what would that actually mean? So if I have a workplace where all the high-paid jobs are upstairs, and we don't have a lift, but everyone's got the same treatment, but all the high-paid jobs are upstairs. If you can't get up the stairs, you can't do them. That would be, under the Equalities Act, discrimination against the disabled. Under Reform's new plan, that would be completely fine. So then we say, well, what about equal pay claims? So we know that women who do the same jobs as men get paid less, and it's disgusting, and it still happens to this day. But we can challenge that legally through the Equalities Act because it's unlawful. However, if you get rid of that and you have the Equal Treatment Act, what you say is, oh no, it's performance based on all the things that they've said for years, and it discriminates against women. So what about if they say, well, actually, in my workplace, I don't want anyone who's married to someone of the same sex, but that applies to everybody. So that's equal treatment, but it would be illegal under the Equalities at Work Act. The Equalities Act is what protects people, whether they are a certain faith, colour of their skin, sexuality, gender, ability, any of those things. It protects them from discrimination. That is a good thing. These are rights that have been hard won and hard fought for. Back in the day, if somebody came out as gay, they could be sacked at work, and there was nothing they could do about it. And actually, people don't tend to say you're sacked because you're gay. They give you lots of different reasons, but it's because of your performance, etc. But the Equality at Work Act makes that really hard to do because you've got to be able to prove those reasons. And actually, calling out that inequality and that discrimination is the only thing that protects a large swathe of the workforce. This is over half the workforce protected by the Equalities Act. You are protected by the Equalities at Work Act. It means whatever characteristics you possess, you cannot be discriminated against. This isn't an act for a few people. This is an act for absolutely everybody. Reform don't understand that. Well, actually, I think Reform do understand that, and they don't want you to have protections. They want to take away your rights under the European Court of Human Rights. They now want to take away your Equalities at Work rights. Why? Because they're about making profit. Now, to be able to sack people for any reason, just to get more and more profit is what the bosses want to do. They don't want to make safe and sustainable workplaces. They don't want to have to worry about equality or discrimination. They just want to make money and to hell with anyone else. They want to return to serfdom and peasants, where we just have to toil and they reap the rewards. Look at the views that they expose. So Nigel Farage, spent his childhood bullying Jews in school, making gas chamber noises. This is a man who has said gay marriage is wrong. This is a man who has hired James Orr to be the head of policy at Reform UK. And James Orr has spent his career campaigning against gay marriage and against abortion. These are people who want to strip you of their rights because they think they know the morality of the world, and it's largely patriarchal, white supremacist, able people that they want to support. Now, why would we sacrifice our rights to a far-right group? Why would we do that? They're trying, just pause and think about it. Why would they want to get rid of the Equalities at Work Act? There is no reason that is not sinister for that. So I urge you, please look into it and realise what they're doing. Equal treatment is not equalities. Equal treatment is a way of discriminating against people. And again, the example that I used of the stairs and the wheelchair, that's equal treatment, but it's discriminatory. We cannot allow it. Again, the same rights to protect people who are likely to take time off work for having children, which is largely women. These are protected in the Equalities at Work Act. So look it up. Join a union, because it's honestly terrifying at the minute, the amount of attacks on our rights. Join a union and get organised, because we're going to need a strong, united workforce to stand against these attacks, because they're going to start coming hard and fast. And if Reform win and start ripping up our hard-won rights, then collectivised action and power is going to be the only thing that can stop them. And sadly, we haven't got the strongest trade union movement in Britain anymore, but it has seen a resurgence and it can be strong. You need to go and get involved. It requires you, join your union, get to your local branch, become a rep, learn things, join the Strike Map Reps Network, join the General Federation of Trade Unions Educational Trust, learn, educate yourselves, get your friends to come along and your colleagues to join it too. If you're renters, join a renters union like Acorn, and get involved in your local Green Party and get active locally, because we are going to need strong communities, because we need to protect each other. Because the thing about equalities is, once they're finished with trans people, they will come for gay people. Once they're finished with gay people, they will come for Muslims. Once they're finished with Muslims, they will come for Jews. Once they're finished with Jews, they will come for trade unionists. They'll come for socialists. They'll come for women. They'll come for everybody, because that is who they are. And when someone shows you who they are, believe it. So we need to get organised. We need to stand strong. And we need to realise that the Equalities at Work Act needs protecting. And trade unions need to wake up and realise that the biggest threat to trade unions right now is Reform UK. Far right becoming emboldened in the UK. We are seeing riots on the streets where white supremacists are throwing Nazi salutes and shouting white power. We are seeing mainstream figures and politicians saying about how gay pride is a waste of money because apparently gays don't contribute to the economy. Gay pride events are apparently a drain on resources and don't make any money. And that actually gay people are privileged because they don't have families to spend money on. These are things that are being said right now, these homophobic slurs. We are seeing people openly say trans people should be banned from public services and park runs and from pissing and pooing in like public places. This is insane. And we're seeing the call on the dog whistles of anti-white racism from Nigel Farage. We're seeing the most vile Islamophobic abuse from mainstream politicians. We've got this echoing from MAGA coming across from America where they have the most gross racism, homophobism and Islamophobia allowed. And the irony of it is all these people spouting this gross homophobic nonsense keep getting arrested for child abuse. These are weird, messed up, sexually disorientated people who are so obsessed that they project it onto other people rather than realizing that actually the LGBTQ plus community are just people who love differently to them or who present differently to them. And this gross emboldenment of the far right, we cannot allow it to take root here in Britain. And Reform UK are trying to normalise that far right division, and they are trying to normalise that MAGA style rhetoric and embed it here in the UK, and we cannot allow it. And that is why we need to stand strong and defend ourselves against Reform UK, particularly with regards to their talk around ruining the Equalities at Work Act. And that's why members of trade unions, for some reason, well, no, for an obvious reason, are leaving Labour, because Labour have let them down hard. Labour have sold out collectivism. They've chased companies like BlackRock and corporate profit over like collective action. They've sold out the unions, and the unions are still giving them millions of pounds. No wonder people are leaving. Union members are leaving Labour. Some are joining Greens, and I understand that, but some are joining Reform, and that's because they're angry, pissed off and scared, and we've allowed division to take root. I do another video talking about that, which I'll link below, but for now, we need to realise that trade unions need to up political education to show people that Reform are not the answer. In fact, they're the biggest threat to your workers' rights, and here's why. So why is it that we have got trade union members en masse voting for Reform UK when Reform UK want to rip up workers' rights? Why is it that we are seeing women champion Reform UK when we're seeing gross misogyny coming out of Reform UK candidates' mouths? Why are we seeing members of the LGBTQ plus community endorsing Reform when Reform want to tear up trans rights and rip up the Equalities at Work Act, and they employ people who say gay marriage isn't proper marriage and that gays don't have the right to have marriage and families? Why is it that we are seeing migrants join Reform when Reform are the most anti-migrant party out there? What is going on? And for me, the answer is simple: a failure of political education. Now, that is a failure that needs to be owned by the Labour movement and by the trade union movement, because that is our job. So we need to up political education of our trade union members and of political party members so that we better understand oppression, we better understand the role that politics plays in all of this, and that we can get organised to do something about it.